I had my way, everything would be so nice. This world would be like Paris. No, it would be a paradise. No one would ever have to say, I'm gonna get my wish someday. All one would have to do is say, this is my order, if you may.
Those of you who have just joined us, I'm Dr. Anthony Hobbs, host and founder of this educational program. This segment is a continuation of the program that you've just viewed. Dr. Joanna P. Edwards is my guest, and she is the founder of the United African Christian Heritage Foundation Unlimited, Inc., 501c3 corporation that's doing a lot of wonderful work in Sierra Leone, West Africa. So let us continue as though there wasn't a break. You were talking about funds when on the other side. Mm-hmm. Those of you who have been blessed with wealth, slowly again give them the place where they could send you your check.
Okay, the United African Christian Heritage Foundation, Unlimited. It's important to put that Unlimited in there, Inc. Inc. because it is incorporated here in the state of Arkansas. It was incorporated in 1992, and we've been helping since then. And that's Post Office Box 8252. Post Office Box 8252, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, 71611.
81611?
Huh? No.
81?
Post Office Box 8252.
I got that.
Pine Bluff, Arkansas, 71611.
Okay. All right. Now you may continue explaining your dream.
Now, in addition to these visions that the Lord is bringing in that nation, I guess I need to say that the Lord is really moving in that land. I mean, we're talking about really moving. There are intercessors all over the country, and they have set up prayer altars in every district. And so they are really, really praying. And all that we're doing, we're praying, we're believing in the power of prayer. In addition to the 3 visions that the Lord has given me for this nation, I'm also trying to take back when I go, hopefully, money to help those children who have been orphaned as a result of the Ebola epidemic. And there is an organization in Sierra Leone, and it is called the Future Foundation Development Organization, or I don't know if they're incorporated or whatever, but it's the Future Foundation Development of Sierra Leone, and they're trying to help these children. And right before me, Dr. Hobbs, I have the description of everything it is that they are trying to do, the main objectives here of the organization, and then also a budget. And what I have zeroed in on helping them to do is with the to educate the children, to pay the school fees, books, and clothes and things like that for children. What they are trying to do now is, instead of establishing an orphan home, the UNICEF has advised them that now the best thing kind of to do is to try and more or less place the children in homes in the community, either in their family, within their families, or within neighbors and all of that, so that they will get care and feel a part of the community. But what they need is they need people to help these families with the education and everything for these children. And so that is not one of my ministries, but when I go back, I would like to carry some resources to be able to help these orphans.
I see. Do they have a private school system in Sierra Leone or public? Most Africans they have both.
Yeah.
They have the public school
and the private. Because you have a lot of parochial schools, you have Islamic schools, you have Christian schools, and you have public schools that are run by the government.
I see.
But see, the country, if you remember, has just come out of war. The country is a very, very rich country, but it's a poor country, if you understand what I'm saying.
Rich in resources.
Rich,
but
very, very rich in resources. The country should have the best roads, the best hospitals, the best of everything, but it doesn't.
Because
one
you
of
don't
their
have the
main
spared
sources of
people.
income
Right.
is diamond mining. If you've seen the film, what was the film? Blood Diamonds. That's based on Sierra Leone. Okay, and recently they discovered that there's probably oil too off the coast of Sierra Leone, but the Sierra Leoneans feel that the diamonds were a curse. And I said, the diamonds are not a curse. It's the unscrupulous people that are the curse.
Right.
And now they're afraid to drill that oil because of what has happened with the diamonds. But they have manganese, they have gold, they have iron, I mean, you name it. They're right on the coast, they're in the rainforest area, so they have good farmland. They have income from the fruit of the sea, what they call the fruit of the sea, fish and all of that, shrimp and what have you. And so the nation has great potential under the right leadership. It has great potential.
Let me ask you this. What role, if any, is the United States government playing in helping to develop that country?
Now, if you remember, Sierra Leone was a British colony, and so they were part of the British Commonwealth nations, all right? Even though the United States does help, and through USAID and some other organizations, the United States does help, but their primary connection
Is the British.
was British, yeah.
Okay.
Now, right next door with Liberia, Liberia is just very much tied to the United States.
Right. Let's stop on that for break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes to continue.
Okay.
This is excellent, excellent potential.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Those of you who have just joined us, I'm Dr. Anthony Hobbs, host of this educational program called The School Without Walls. My guest is Dr. Joanna P. Edwards, who is the founder of a religious organization called the United African Christian Heritage Foundation Unlimited, Inc. And we're talking primarily about Sierra Leone, and as we were saying during the break is we encourage our people to do more study of African history, especially Sierra Leone. I was reminded, and we discussed this, I think, in the past, down in the Carolinas, the rice in Carolina came from Sierra Leone back in early slave time, you know. That's where the
well, I don't know if the rice did, but I do know
I remember doing
they have a
research on it.
long history of rice growing in
Yeah.
that Guinea Coast
They
area.
introduced rice to the USA.
And so what happened is once that the slave traders found out that those lowlands along the coast of South Carolina and around there and the Georgia Sea Islands, that it was conducive to rice, well then that made Africans who were brought from that Guinea Coast area and enslaved in America at a premium.
Right, became
because
specialists.
they knew the technology of raising rice. Rice is a staple food.
That's correct.
In that area. In fact, if you ask a Mende man, if he has eaten, he could have been eating little stuff all day.
This is
but
came
if
to me,
he
the
has
Gullah
not,
people, the Gullah.
the Gullah
people.
That's right.
came-
That's right.
Yeah.
If he has not had rice, he'll say, I haven't had anything to eat all day.
How about that?
Yeah.
And it is a staple food, too.
Yeah, it's a
I just
staple
want to throw
food.
that in.
Yeah.
I didn't want to take from
a
what
lot
you were
of
saying.
rice grown
Yeah,
there.
but we really need to study that African, especially West African history.
But this country has a special history anyway, because Freetown was called the colony of freedom, And that was where, after the British outlawed the slave trade, well, what they would do is cruise up and down the coast of West Africa, and if they found French ships, American ships, whatever, still involved in the slave trade, they would preempt them, take the enslaved people off the ships, and they would take them and settle them at Freetown. So they looked at that as a colony of freedom. When you go there today, you can still see the gate that they went through, bringing those people there and settling them at Freetown. What they did is they purchased land from the different ethnic groups that lived along that coast.
That was a type of reparation the British was giving, wasn't it? We've never gotten anything from the USA. They were
I've never seen reparations connected with that. What happened is, as a result of the abolitionist movement, they just stopped trading slaves earlier in England. They outlawed it earlier than they did here in this country and in the other European countries. And so Sierra Leone has such a rich history because the Portuguese went up and down the coast. It used to be known as the watering hole. And so when the ships came up and down, they would stop there to get fresh water. And they would also get oranges and lemons and limes and things like that for their men, and to clean the ships with, like an antiseptic kind of thing. And because they would get scurvy. The sailors would get scurvy after they had been out to sea so long without vitamin C. You see. And so if you go to Sierra Leone today, orange trees grow everywhere, fruit trees everywhere, all out in the bush. Grapefruit trees, lime trees, lemon trees, orange trees, guava, mango. I mean, you know, it's literally a very, very rich and productive nation. Yeah, it is, and the people are nice people as well.
Let's get back to what you're trying to finish. Well, we're down to 3 minutes in the second segment, so we want to make sure you cover everything.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, except for the city, the Bow Conservatory of Sacred Divine Music. This school will be a school where praises and worship will go forth. Divine praise and worship will go forth that will transform that nation and the nations around. All right.
I know Liberia is one of the border nations. What is another one? What other
one
nation?
of the what? Oh, Guinea.
Guinea.
Yeah.
And
Guinea's on one side, Liberia's on the other side. Yeah.
Sierra Leone. Okay. You know, we have 2 more minutes, and I believe we're in segment 2. Is that right? You remember the late Leon Sullivan, who founded?
I do.
He was
OIC.
Yeah, OIC. I attended the second African American Summit Conference under him, and I saw he and his wife become citizens of Sierra Leone.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, that was one.
I do know that there was an OIC there.
Right. That was one of the purposes of that was to try to open up as many nations south of the Sahara where we could have dual citizenship.
Yeah, and they did.
So Dr. Leon Sullivan was the first
Africa.
African American to become a citizen of Sierra Leone.
Okay.
And his wife was the second one.
Well, I didn't know that, but I do know that they did establish an OIC there. When I was there first time doing my dissertation research, there was an OIC there, and they had brought some African American people in who directed it and carried it out. I'm not sure that it's still functional.
1 more minute. I'm going to say this. You might want to help me find some research on a documentary I saw about the late Dr. Leon Sullivan. Did you see they did about a 2-hour documentary about his life after his death?
Oh, okay.
And they said if there's any one person who had a great influence on South Africans being liberated was Dr. Leon Sullivan.
Okay.
That's not heard of much, but that was in that documentary.
And he did a great work in this country as well.
He did. I remember.
The OIC training centers and all of that.
We're going to stop on that, and we'll be back for the final segment.
Zap Zika by protecting babies and kids from mosquito bites. Here are some quick tips for using repellent. 1. Always follow the instructions on the label. 2. Don't use insect repellent on babies younger than 2 months old. 3. Don't use products with oil of lemon eucalyptus or paramethane diol on children younger than 3 years old. 4. Never spray insect repellent directly on a child's face. Instead, spray it on your hands and then apply, taking care to avoid the eyes and mouth. And 5, use mosquito netting to cover carriers, strollers, and cribs. Check out more Zap Zika videos at cdc.gov/Zika.
Those of you who have just joined us, I'm Dr. Tony Hobbs, host of this educational program called The School Without Walls. My guest today is Dr. Joanna P. Edwards, who is the founder of a religious organization called the United African Christian Heritage Foundation Unlimited, Inc., founded in 1992. We've talked about so many wonderful things about Sierra Leone, so let us talk briefly about the history for a few minutes, and certainly we want to talk about some ways by which we can solicit help.
Okay.
Okay, the history you were mentioning.
Okay, yes. Sierra Leone has such a rich history, and most people don't really understand how the colony of Freetown got started. Because what happened was that not only did the British patrol the ocean around and intercept ships from America, France, wherever they were still trading in slaves, and they would take those people and they would take them to what they call the Colony of Freedom, which is today the capital of the nation of Sierra Leone. But the other thing is that the British, customary to British practice, they also emptied prisons, they took prostitutes, they took other...
From their country?
Yes,
yes. And dumped them there.
And dumped them there. And in addition to that, if you remember, there were people of African ancestry who had fought in the Revolutionary War. They were called loyalists.
Right.
Now, most people don't think in terms of Africans being loyalists, but they were called loyalists because they had been loyal to the British Crown. Well, then after the Revolutionary War was over, they had to get out of Dodge, so to speak. So they moved them up to Nova Scotia. But it was very cold, inhospitable up there for people.
That's in Canada, right?
Yes,
Nova
exactly. So, but the British were still in control of that territory. And so what they did was they moved those Africans from there and moved them back to Sierra Leone as well.
Okay, from Nova Scotia back to Sierra Leone.
Yes, the other group that they moved was they had a group of people from Jamaica called the Maroons.
Okay.
You probably read about them in history.
Maroons,
And what they did was they would come down and attack the settlements there in Jamaica. So they were just troublemakers as far as the British were concerned. And so what they had done is they had taken these Maroons and moved them up to Nova Scotia to get them out of Jamaica, you know, keep from making trouble. They moved them to Freetown.
How about that?
And so today, what you see in Freetown is you see the descendants of all these different groups. Yeah.
That's very interesting, very interesting. I imagine that's kind of a complexion blend too, isn't there? Not just culture, but is there, can you identify maybe the Jamaicans from the...
It's not easy because it's not
been
easy.
so long, hasn't it?
Yeah. Now, when you get to different ethnic groups, for example, I can pretty much identify a Mende person, and then you have the Susu, you have different other ethnic groups in the country. But when you get to Freetown, you do see a blend. Because you see these ancestral backgrounds, but they call themselves now the Creole people with a K. K-R-I-O,
Creole, right.
and they speak a language that is called Creole. Now, back to your Gullah that you were talking about earlier,
right.
and there are a group of people in the hills there between Sierra Leone and Liberia. They call themselves the Gola people, G-O-L-I-A, and they believe that Gullah came from Gola,
It just came from
their language.
different
And during the
pronunciation.
time that I was there the first time, Dr. Hobbs, there was a group of people who came to visit, some missionaries who came to visit, and this one lady was actually from Jamaica originally, and she spoke Patois or whatever,
I know what you're talking about.
that language, Creole language that they
of
speak
that
there.
area, right.
And she could move about and communicate with those people.
Yeah, let's stop on that because we got to do a little salesmanship here. Tell them where, we got 3 minutes, I think.
Okay.
Tell them where they can go online and get this?
Okay,
Yeah.
if you want to know more about the City of Rest Rehabilitation Center,
yeah.
you can go online and look up City of Rest Rehabilitation Center, Freetown, Sierra Leone, and you can pull it up. And you'll see the buildings that have been constructed, the dormitories, kitchen, and everything that's been done so far, okay? The other thing is that if you want to contribute, you can contribute through the United African Christian Heritage Foundation Unlimited. We call it the UACHF
There you go. You
Unlimited.
shortened it, right.
UACHF Unlimited Inc., Post Office Box 8252, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, 71611.
And this is a worthy cause to those of you who've been blessed with big money. Do we have 5 minutes? 501c3. This is a 501c3.
Oh, yes.
We left it
This
off.
is a 501c3 organization, and so any contributions that are given are tax deductible.
We have 1 minute. Let me ask you this: Have you communicated with most of the 300 or 400 churches here in Pine Bluff pertaining to this?
I haven't communicated with you. Now, when I went last time, I'm getting ready.
Yeah.
I'm getting brochures and things ready right now,
Right.
and I'm planning to mail out a big mailing.
Right.
Probably the first week in July. I'm mailing out a large mailing, and I'm going to put not only this one, the City of Rest, but I'm also putting the Ebola one there so that people can give who want to give to that.
Right.
And I'm sending those out, you know.
I wish the African Methodist Episcopal Church would take that on as a project.
I wish they
You
would,
might
too.
want to, we have a new bishop coming in.
Yeah.
So you might want to use your political skills to talk with him about that.
I don't have any political skills.
Or pray your prayers.
My prayers, I can do
You know,
that.
I was thinking about your uncle.
I
your
can-
brother.
Yeah,
Senator
well,
Edmonds.
yeah.
I was thinking about it. And
Yeah.
That would be a wonderful project if they would take that on, because they
Yeah.
have churches in Africa.
Yes, they do.
Send
They
money
do.
to Africa.
Yes, they
so
do.
they might send us some money. Yeah.
Yeah, and a big church is the United Methodist Church. United Methodist Church is probably the largest Protestant church there in Mendyland.
Yeah, I see.
In Mendyland, in the eastern part
And
of the
you
country.
know they give money to things like that.
Yeah,
You
they
can-
do. They
yeah,
still
they
do.
give a lot of money.
I mean, there are a lot of United Methodist
that's
churches
right.
in Sierra Leone.
We're going to have to
Yeah.
stop on that one. I really enjoyed having you.
There are a lot of all kind of churches in Sierra Leone.